Yo guys, so wanted to take a few minutes here to quickly talk about my new phone, which is the OnePlus Open that I had bought about 30 days ago on the day that it released. Wanted to talk about the things that I like, which is plenty, and some things that I don't, which is not that much, to be honest. Now, with OnePlus, they claim that this is their first generation fold. Now, with their sister company, Oppo, this is their third generation fold, and here's the thing, it's the same exact phone. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go straight in the middle. First generation versus third generation, divide it in half. This is a 1.5 generation phone, okay? So that's what we're gonna call it. For a 1.5 generation phone, this is excellent compared to the other offerings in the United States like Samsung and Google. Now, let's go ahead and talk about build quality really quick. Build quality, I wanna give it a 9 out of 10. It is excellent. The materials are excellent. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the names of what this thing is made of. Just understand that it's some kind of metal, some kind of fake leather on the back. I'm pretty sure this is fake leather. Really, really high quality stuff. When you hold this phone for the first time, you can tell that this is a flagship phone. Now, the only reason I didn't give it a 10 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10 instead is because sometimes I like to call it lacking calcium, because that's what this is, right? You ever see somebody that don't drink milk, and then when they try to get up and they bend their knees all cracky and stuff like that? Same thing with this. If you leave this closed for too long and you try to open it, it's not a silent open like it would be on like a Samsung, like a smooth and silent open. It has a little bit of that like how somebody's knees crack. Hold on, let me try and open it. I'm gonna put it up to the microphone real quick. Let me see if you can hear it. Oh, you heard that? You had to have heard that. Yeah. But it makes that noise, and it doesn't seem like, I don't know, maybe I gotta throw some WD-40 on here, but I don't want to mess up the phone. That's the thing. But yeah, if you leave the phone closed for too long, it lacks calcium, and when you open it, it's like a little bit. But the thing that I do like is when it opens up like this, it does make this snapping noise. Like that. Oh, you probably can't hear it because it's too far away. But it has a nice, satisfying snap to it. Okay? Now, when it comes to the looks and feel from the phone, the form factor is spot on in my opinion. It's not like the Samsung Z Fold 5, which is like super thin like a remote control. I don't know why I'm doing this hand motion. I'm not gonna cut that out, whatever. And it's not like the Google Pixel where it's like short and fat. And it looks kind of trolly, you know, like if you ever see like a guy that's too short, but he's like extra buff, he looks like a troll. That's, in my opinion, what the Google Pixel Fold looks like. This is a sweet spot right in the middle. I often use this phone with the display closed, to be honest, because it has the right form factor. I don't need to leave it open in order to use the phone effectively. So this is great. The aspect ratio is great. I can watch YouTube videos in its full proper aspect ratio. Another thing that I like is when you open it up and you do use it, you can see a little bit of the crease right here, but honestly, it has to be in a very, very specific angle. Like light has to be shining all up in it. If you touch it though, you actually can't even feel the crease. You can barely feel the crease if you touch it. And it has to be at a specific angle. Every other angle that you're looking at it, it just looks like a regular tablet, which is absolutely amazing. I love the fact that there's a lack of crease. I have a Z Flip 5 from Samsung, and the crease on that compared to this one is like night and day. This is so different. Right, another thing that I wanted to talk about was the weight of this thing. Now, I've never had a folding phone, right? I'm coming from an iPhone, actually switching to Android, and this is the phone that I'm choosing to switch to. Here's what a lot of people don't tell you. This phone's heavy as hell, you guys. It is heavy as hell. It feels like my iPhone 12 Pro Max that I had with the case on it. And this is how it feels without the case. A lot of people are saying this is the lightest foldable that you can get compared to the Samsung or the Pixel. If that's the case, I don't even want to know what the Samsung or the Pixel weighs like, because this phone is heavy as hell. Sure, this might be the lightest phone out of all the foldables, but that doesn't mean that foldables are light phones. It just means that foldables, if this is the lightest one, it means that foldables in general are heavy ass phones. So I don't want anything heavier than this. This is a sweet spot for me. If anything, it might be just a little bit too heavy, honestly. But yeah, sure, the lightest foldable phone. It's still a heavy phone though. So I want to really put that out there. If you're not coming from another foldable phone, this phone's going to be heavy as hell for you. Okay, and also let's go ahead and talk about the camera in the back. All right, so the camera, I'm not gonna lie, is extremely ugly, it's huge, and it's ridiculous looking. When I showed my girlfriend, and I asked her what she felt about the camera, straight up, I'm not even kidding you guys, she didn't even tell me. She just straight up looked at it and just started laughing. I've never seen so many people laugh at this camera. My dad laughed at this camera, my other friends laughed at this camera. This camera, I'm not even gonna lie, is almost the size of a camera lens, like an actual camera lens on a DSLR, maybe a little bit smaller. But yeah, this camera is ridiculous, and for the size that it is, it better take extremely good pictures, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So let's talk about performance. I really do like the performance. I don't know, I'm kind of torn because this phone like came out right on the edge of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which is going to be built into next year's flagship phones. But it still has a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, which is no slouch either. This phone's still super snappy, super fast. It does everything that I want it to do. It doesn't lag. The only thing that I have a gripe with is that the performance, because this is a folding phone, is not optimized fully. And what I mean by that is, here, I'll show you. Check this out. So I'm gonna open up Discord, right? I got a little chat with my boys here. So this is like in the folding phone mode, right? This unfolded mode. Now, if I close it, it's supposed to be a seamless experience, but it's not. Do you notice this video that I had sent to my friends and some of the text is cut in half? Yeah, that it's not optimized to close and then have it show in the mobile aspect effectively. And this is not the only app that it does it on. It does it on quite a few apps, so I'm hoping a software update will really fix that issue, because what I've been doing just recently is I have to close it and then I have to reopen it for it to work again properly. So yeah, while it's good, super snappy, hasn't given me any problems, it hasn't crashed, no apps have crashed, has no signs of lag or slowdown or anything like that, I would really like to see some optimization there on that aspect. Another thing that I don't like is that it doesn't have wireless charging built into the phone. And man, that's a little bit of an irk, because these days, I feel like most of us, especially most of us that like tech, have wireless chargers just laying around our houses everywhere. At least I do. Almost in every single room, and I just like being able to plop my phone down. I know OnePlus has a reputation apparently of not wanting to put wireless chargers in their phones. They're gonna have to eventually catch up with the times, because this is something that I see a lot of reviewers complaining about. I'm not gonna lie, with this big ass camera though on the back, how they're gonna fit a wireless charger into this? If you take a look at it from the side, right? Hold on, let me try to show you real quick. From the side, look how big this camera bump like bulges out. This thing doesn't not sit straight on a flat table. It actually does sit like at an angle because the camera thing is so high. So even if I were to lay it down on a flat wireless charger, I don't even know if it would pick up the signal effectively. But yeah, no wireless charging on this. Let's go ahead and talk about the camera. With the camera as freaking big as it is, it sure as hell better take some amazing photos and videos, and that it does. I'm gonna go ahead and throw up a few examples here. I love the depth of field. Some photos you can't even tell the difference if you're sharing it on social media if it was taken with a DSLR or this phone. I love it. I absolutely love it. This is the closest thing I was able to get on Android to an iPhone in terms of camera quality, aside from the, Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra, and probably the next one too, the S24 Ultra is gonna have a banger camera. But as far as folding phones, this camera is really, really kick-ass. Now, when it comes to battery life is really good. I consider myself a power user, which means I use my phone all day, every day. So when I wake up in the morning and I unplug it, by the time it gets to about 10 p.m. at night rolls around, I'm looking at probably 20% battery left, which is honestly really, really great. If it can survive me, it could probably survive you as well. So battery is great. It's not gonna last you 2 days if you're a power user, but it will easily last you an entire day. That's for sure. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was the price to value ratio. Now, OnePlus has been known, at least in the beginning, for making really, really high quality flagship phones for a couple $100 less than the flagship competition. And they started to stray away from that a few years ago. accordingly, and they started trying to compete and having their prices adjusted accordingly to compete with flagship phones as well. This phone, I feel like, really brings it back to its roots. What do you get for a couple $100 less than competition? Honestly, you get more. In the box was an amazing unboxing experience, by the way. I got the red cable, I got the charging brick, I got a case, it comes with pre-installed screen protectors in it. I love it. Honestly, I love it. Great value, and it comes with more storage than the base level of the Google Pixel and the Samsung Z Fold 5 as well. So really great price to value ratio on this thing. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about a few things that I don't see a lot of people talking about, or maybe some people get wrong. I know early on with some other reviews, they're saying that this does not have pen support or stylus support when it actually does. And I'll go ahead and throw a link in the description to the proper pen or stylus that you want to use. And it's actually the pen that works with the Oppo Find N3. It's just called the Oppo Pen. So it is a dedicated pen, but it does have pen support. Another thing that I wanted to talk about was tent mode. You know, when you like kind of open up your phone, you want to put it down like that. A lot of people are saying that tent mode doesn't work, but it actually does. And it's a weird way of kind of how it works, but I'll show you. So let's go ahead and just pull up an example here, right? Let's just pull up a YouTube video. I'll go ahead and mute it so it doesn't get copyright. And if you want to go ahead and open it up, it'll start playing on the inside. But if you put it down, actually, on the table, it starts playing in tent mode. All you have to do, you probably can't see it. There you go. If I lean it up, you can probably see it. All you have to do is put it down on the table and it starts playing in tent mode. So if you don't know to put it down though, the thing is, then you won't know that it ever works. So somebody had to have tried it and it worked. So yes, tent mode actually does work. Now, another thing is when you're kind of opening it up and you want to play a YouTube video, here's the thing. You don't want to put this side on the ground because it's so uneven because of the camera. Unfortunately, you actually want to lay the side of your screen flat on the floor if you want to make this work. So here's how I kind of do it, right? You kind of twist it here, and then you have this icon here indicating that you have just tilted your phone. And then you kind of want to fold it like this, and then place it down like that. And now the camera part is in the air and then the flat part is on the bottom. Just be careful of what surfaces you put it down on, because if you're putting it on like a rugged surface or some rocks, just be careful, you're gonna scratch the screen or something like that, okay? So that's kind of how I do that. Another thing that I do like is that if I have the auto rotate for the screen off, like if I'm laying down, this thing still knows that you rotate your phone and it gives you a suggestion if you want to rotate it the other way. So for example, if I rotate it this way, like this, see this little icon here at the bottom? It's asking me if I want to rotate my phone, which is really cool, and I think it's really courteous and convenient that they would do that. And then if I want to rotate it back, it asks me again, and then I rotate it back. And this way, I don't have to have my auto rotate on, and I can just use that suggestion that comes up every single time. I really like that. And now another thing I want to talk about is the speaker quality. The speaker quality is excellent. So I'm just going to go ahead for copyright. I'll just pull up one of our videos, right? And let's just pull up our Halloween video that we have here. And listen to the speakers on this thing. Let me find the volume.
That, then you're in a situation where you paid $1,000 for a phone and you don't get the capabilities that they promised you in the first place. But that, only time can really tell. We don't really have a way to see what they're going to do.
The speakers are excellent on this phone, actually. I'm gonna tilt it over to this side again so I can kind of rotate it this way. Come on, there we go. But yeah, the speakers are excellent. Another thing that I did want to talk about is the water resistance. Now, this doesn't have IPX68 water resistance, unfortunately. It only has IPX4, which is splash proof. So this is another downside here, is that it's not fully water submersible, it's just merely splash proof. Cool thing though about this, now that I'm pointing at the top, if you kind of notice up here, this is one of the very few phones that I've seen that has a built-in IR blaster, which can act as a remote control for a lot of devices in your house, whether it be fans, light bulbs, TVs, anything that requires remote access, this can probably control it, which is really cool. Not necessary, but I think it's a really pleasant added addition. Another thing is it has a mute switch on the side, which I like. So there's 3 here. So on the very bottom is the ring. And then if I go switch it to the middle, we have vibrate, and then at the top, you have full silent. So I usually keep mine on ring during the day, but yeah, really convenient to have that mute switch. Now, I want to talk about the biometrics speed as well. When it comes to how quickly this thing picks up my fingerprint, it's insane. Watch this. We're gonna go from just a screen off. Watch how quickly this thing unlocks my phone just the moment I tap the screen, or the moment I tap the biometrics button. Ready? Boom. Instant, like literally in a split second. I'll try it again. Ready? And I'll do it because I have multiple fingerprints. I'll do it with my index finger. Last time I did it with my thumb. This time I'll do it with my index. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Boom. So fast. I love how quick the biometrics is. Now, another thing that I have seen with other reviews, and I haven't tested this out, but I wanted to throw it out there as a word of caution, is the camera on the back. Now, the camera is hidden behind glass, kind of the same way as a dial on a watch is kind of hidden behind the glass as well. The camera works this way as well, but I've noticed some people with reviews echoing some concerns about the build quality of the camera, specifically in very foggy situations, that the camera lenses behind the glass tend to sometimes get foggy when trying to take pictures, which essentially ruins the shot. Now, I haven't had that experience myself, but just be cautious of that. I wanted to throw that out there because I've seen for some people's review units that does happen. Now, another thing that I wanted to talk about was the screen brightness. This thing gets bright, you guys. We're talking about 2,800 nits of brightness. So extremely easy to see in the daylight. This is probably the brightest phone I've ever seen when it came to screen brightness. Now, with the screen size, this screen size is perfect for me. I think it's like 6.2 or 6.3 inches, which is great. So to put that in perspective, the Pixel 8 Standard, not the Pixel 8 Pro, but the Pixel 8 Standard is about the same size as this. This is not the size of my iPhone 12 Pro Max or any type of Pro Max phone, which is about 6.7 to 6.8 inch screen, which is a little bit bigger. Here's the example. Now, this is an iPhone 12 Pro Max, and this is the OnePlus Open. Do you notice how much smaller it is than that of a Pro Max phone, which I like because I can use it easily with one hand. Now, let's talk about the multitasking really quick. So there's 2 ways you can actually multitask, and I'll go ahead and fold my phone here open so you guys can see. So if I wanted to go on YouTube and watch a video, right? Now, if I wanted to pull up, for example, Google on the side here, now you could have 2. But if I wanted to pull up one more, like notes, for example, if I just wanted to pull up the notes, it would give me 3. And here are my notes for the video here. And then here is just this website I was looking at. And then here is YouTube, which you can do at the same time. Now, this is the open unfolded multitasking. The cool part is you can actually multitask with the phone closed as well if I wanted, again, to open YouTube and just to watch a video or something like that. Now, if I swipe from the right side and I wanted to pick another app to use, so let's just say, for example, I wanted to pull up Discord or something like that, right? I would pull up Discord, and you could do a split screen from the bottom as well. And I can, adjust this to the size that I feel is appropriate, or I could just close it all together. So you can multitask both when it's closed and when it's open. So I really found that very helpful. Now, another thing is that, like I've mentioned, I came from iPhone and Apple, switching to Android for the first time and using this phone to do it. And now how I'm doing that is I actually didn't choose to get rid of iMessage altogether. I'm using an app called Beeper. Now, Beeper actually acts as a bridge between iMessage and this phone, so I still show up as a blue bubble. I still get read receipts. I can still see when people are typing. I can still see and use all of the same emojis that people with iPhones use. The only thing is, some people might have a concern when it comes to privacy, because essentially what apps like Beeper and Sunbird do is they take your Apple ID and they log you in through some kind of messaging farm through an iMac mini or something like that, and they kind of route messages through their what they call encrypted servers. But then again, you can't ever be too careful when it comes to that stuff. So just a word of caution, you can use iMessage with apps like Sunbird and Beeper, but just be careful that there could be some potential privacy concerns. All right, but yeah, this is honestly a great phone. It's probably the best foldable phone you can get in the States, in my opinion, compared to Samsung and Google Pixel. It's the best value for money. It has the best form factor. I love the build quality. The camera is top notch. I love everything about this. Sure, a few gripes here and there, but nothing to complain about. The sad part about this is at least as of right now, I don't see any carriers selling this phone. You actually have to buy this phone outright online if you want it. So it's a great phone that unfortunately no one is going to know about except for if you're interested in tech. That's kind of where we're at with the folding phone market. Samsung has a chokehold on the folding phone market, the same way Draymond has a chokehold on that one guy I saw the other day, which was wild. If you haven't seen that, go check that clip out because that was crazy. Anyways, what am I going to give this phone on a scale of 1 out of 10? I'm going to go ahead and rate this phone an 8.5 out of 10. Happy to say that I have switched to Android because of this phone. This is my new daily driver, and I'm really excited to be able to use this long term. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, concerns, or want or need any information from me, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and I'd be happy to answer that. Until then, we'll catch you guys later, and we'll see you guys next time. All right, peace.